It's the tail end of chapter 11 of the production titled 70. There were some pieces left over right here.
Accessibility. Menu expanded with submenu. The good news. You ask. Readers along for the ride in the Daniel 70th week prophecy as train? Season tickets for a stint would be endorsable with even a spike in ticket subscription sales as more persons under constraints of RU4Z are concerns feeling like an official marshalling unto sequester found more personally adaptable schedules allowing for easy toggling between appropriation of work designated hours from play. For health concerns from home offices working which felt in many instances like the auspicious tide of serendipitous cresting wave to thereupon surf and advantage. So there was entertainment outside of mandatory viewing still. As could have been expected there should be before the prophets would later again show a detail uncommon to what we share in their seeming God-lending omnipresence when. At least. So said the monitors above the scoreboards and pinned to suspended monitors from cement ceilings on respective levels of stadium ceiling and pillar mount. Two New Jerseys returning. Appearing up there on screens where the cameras training in on the action focused in on something other than where the lenses did point. The newest form of new normal to get either used to or involved in. Which in case of the latter would require what was referred to as a harnessing of the equipment to the marvel that's Genesis originated as a sort of inside job. Said one reporter to another while enjoying where they could what they'd broadcast into homes. Yes. This newest layer and form of new normal just when we thought we'd had enough of that. Friends, he turned to square the camera. And really this is something to consider. Their commanding of the signals the lesser harm when compared to this prophesied thing that they say is to contend with soon what would seem to be beyond a looming today. And that is global war's outbreak. Let me see here, he paused and began leaping through a few pages of a small breast pocket-sized notebook. And just to think, almost universally amongst the faithful given us a semblance of a clue about this thing and these men it is believed that on the prophet's prophetic time clock some would synchronize to our own doomsday clock. To our 9 p.m. New York worldwide according to the time to encapsulate their ministry hour. If correct about who they are. It's not quite close to the 11th hour yet. Got someone get the lifeboats and inflatable rafts already? Like it or not according to sources we're in for quite the tsunami for a ride. Sports enthusiasts still wondering who'd won the game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and New England Patriots? Well, the universally applied adage had spread like wildfire. As simple as the statement was. It was comically understood how such did materialize when considering what had seemed to in tandem occur. Jokingly quipped and as easier way to address the unaddressable in upended and capsized signals that day. The first of many obliterated streamlets for hours of, and usually day-long intervals of time. The saying universally applied was to anyone but Tommy. A common phrase as the perfectly thrown spiral to him during that game resulted in both loss and his own personal description now as that ball player with the stoniest hands I'd ever seen. And we've all seen the kind. For God's sake. Cry over spilled nachos with me already? Right there in Tommy's breadbasket, in childlike fear the overly cautious receiver growing alligator arms downfield showing more regard for the player honing in on him like prey for its catch. Fearing collision instead of anticipating the touchdown and the wished-for game's glorious final outcome. This second game announcer sounding like he had outcomes vested steak turned sour. In reality on that key game deciding second and play the audible ordered by the prophets standing in a region across the ocean. Miles away in Jerusalem yet as nearby as the next seat over in their sudden appearing on that stadium's large screen when telecasted during the Padre Pietra di Rome Dianus and Nasser Abu Maha Hussein address from Peter's Square. So the culprit that's identifying pleased the fans in the least was the off-field interception by primetime Prophet Global Times chief participants. This with fears of contact factoring in had completely locked the receiver's hands up into a stony ball. Were the participants lead men protagonists or villainous antagonists? The answer was an unequivocal yes. Depending. Together the many asked while fearing. What good can come of this? while in reference to the oft-quoted biblical phrase as in the days of Noah. Persons with the curmudgeon during his half-hour-long show had to make sport of it as the show's anchor shared the same name. New line. Image. New line. Document details. Button. Document details. Button. Document details. 16 of 16.